Hi everyone and welcome to this acrylic tutorial. Today we're going to be painting this truck with the Christmas tree on the back. So in the beginning of the video I have a pale background, but at the very end I decided, after I'd already kind of finished and wrapped up my painting, that I wanted to change the background. So if you like how this fades into the background, my number one tip is, while you see me painting my blue, just paint the edges a little bit darker and then just blend it out versus doing it at the end, because it was a little tricky trying to get around the Christmas tree. So that's my one tip before we get into the video, but let's jump on over and get started on the painting. All right, so to get started, we're gonna do our background first. So when I think of this painting, I envision it being nice and light and airy because I want the main focus to be on my truck. So I'm coming in with a really nice light blue, and I'm gonna paint over top of my tree a little bit. That way when I come in and do my branches, I have a smooth transition between my tree and my sky. So don't worry if you go over your tree too much. So I'm mixing up a nice soft blue color. And if you feel like your paint isn't moving that much, you can just go in with a little bit of water to help just loosen it up a little bit and move it along. So now that you've seen me start doing my background, I'm gonna speed up this video and I'll see you when we're ready to start painting the truck. So one thing to keep in mind as well, if you look at what I'm doing with my brush strokes, I'm trying to go in one direction. I'm not going back and forth. I'm sticking with up and down. So whatever direction you go, be consistent with that. All right, I'm gonna speed up my video. Stop doing my background towards the bottom, so I'm going to mix up a deeper, darker gray color, but again, I don't want it to pull away from my focus. I'm going to add some white just to kind of mute it. So I'm coming in with this nice little gray blue color for the road. And I'm definitely using lots of water here to spread it out. This is when my watercolor comes out. I want to make sure I can spread this water. I don't want it to be super thick. I'm trying to be consistent with my brush strokes again, going left to right. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start painting, I think, my truck. And I'm gonna do it that typical Christmas red that we have. So I'm gonna get started. So I'm basically just gonna be filling out section by section and just going, and then at the very end, I'll come in and I'll add my highlights. So I'm gonna come in and just paint my whole truck, leaving this bumper at the bottom. I don't have to paint the bumper. So this little part right here, I'm gonna leave because that's gonna be a different color. But all of this is gonna be red. It's just gonna be shadowed and highlighted a little bit different. I'm just gonna paint all this part red too. And I've gone nice and thick with my lines. And to be honest, my red is pretty much a little opaque as well. I can see through. It's transparent, so I can see through it. So I'm gonna come back with you when all of my truck is painted, except for the bumper here. I'm gonna leave this bumper part right here, and I'm gonna leave, actually I'm gonna paint this part too. But it's basically just the front bumper and then this bumper right here. So 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm going to leave. I'm going to paint all of the rest, and I'm going to leave the headlights and obviously the wheels. Just came in and did I did 2 layers there, so I let it dry. I actually have a dryer. If you have a hair dryer, you can hit it with a hair dryer as well. That works, just to kind of speed up the process. So now I'm going to come in, I'm going to mix a little bit of purple. Purple is going to be my shadow color, so I'm going to mix a nice purple color and then get to work with my shadows. So it might look a little funky for a little bit, but bear with me. So this little line right here on the bumper, I'm going to come in and just give it a nice shadow. On the opposite side of this little wheel cover, I'm going to shadow this area. I'm going to grab some red and just help blend this out. Grabbing some red to just blend out that harsh line that I have to make sure it's nice and blended. Blend, blend, blend. Okay, I'm also going to use this dark color to come right underneath this area. I'm going to come in underneath this area as well. Around. So you're basically just looking for my pencil lines and then you're going to shadow. Basically like outlining. That's the word I'm looking for. You're basically just outlining with some purple here if you chose the red car. Even if you didn't choose a red car, like I would say purple's a really good shadow color. Like I don't use black that much to shadow anymore because I find that it just dulls down my paintings. So that's why you're seeing me here painting and shadowing with purple, not black. I don't want this painting to be dull at all. So I'm coming around, still outlining. I'm going to also outline over here with my purple. And my door frame. And under my door frame. And then under this little bumper part that I have for the back of my truck. Shadow. And that feels pretty good to me. So the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to do my windows. So I'm going to mix a little bit of a grayish bluish color. And I'm going to fill in, I don't like that. I'm going to add a little bit more gray. Don't like that. Add a little bit more blue. And fill in my windows. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of white. I feel like it's a little too dull. Add some white in here just to liven it up a little bit. I'm just blending this out while it's still wet. Adding a little bit more white. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do my headlights, nice and bright and yellow. Just added some white in there as well. I'm going to change this one. And then I'm going to mix this yellow into some brown for my bumper. So it kind of looks a little golden almost. So that headlight color, the yellow and the white, I mixed a tiny little bit of brown to get the color that I'm using right here for my bumper. And I'll use it for the back bumper, and then I'll use it for the stepping bumper as well right here. Okay, the next color I want to mix up is a bit of gray. I don't want to go full black with my wheels, so I'm going to come in with some gray first. A little bit of blue in there. And then once I have this color down, I'll come in with some black while it's still wet. I'm just going to do this with all of my wheels while I have this color on my brush. Okay, so while it's still wet, I'm going to come in and mix in that black. Mostly towards the edges here. I'm letting those colors mix in because I'll come in and do a nice rim in the middle. One thing that I want to do while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow right underneath. So using that nice gray color, I'm just going to shadow under the truck. And I'm using some water to just spread this out. Okay. So I'm going to come in again with a nice gray, and I'm going to create a rim. And then just with pure black, towards the edge here, I'm going to add the shadow that was underneath the tire. Just adding some black for shadows for the tire up top as well, and just blending that out. Okie dokie. The next thing that I am going to do is add some blue in here and a little bit of black. I'm gonna fill in, I don't know what you call this, the grill? Whatever part this is called. I need to start learning. If I'm painting cars as frequently as I am, I feel like I should know what the part of the car is called. But whatever this is, I am painting it. It's the same with flowers. I paint flowers all the time, and I have got no idea what the flower is actually called. And then I think with this bumper color, I'm gonna add a little design right here towards the top. Okay, so the only thing really that this truck is now missing is the highlight. So I'm gonna come in, it's kind of like I don't like that it turns pink, but I am gonna come in and just start giving it a little bit of a highlight on some spots. I'm gonna use some red to kind of just blend it out. So it doesn't stand out too much in some areas. Okay, the next part is the tree. I'm gonna come in and just create little brush strokes everywhere. So the top of the tree, as you can probably tell by the sketch, is nice and thin. And as you work your way towards the car, you're gonna start getting thicker. Now be careful to not go too far into your truck and ruin all your hard work. So I'm definitely being careful here. And I'm just flicking, doing little flicking motions. Got a big old tree here. And then if you want to, you can also add like a darker green color. You can add a little bit of brown in just to create a little bit of shadow. You can even add a little bit of blue, a little bit of red as well. Makes it really dark, makes it into a really pretty army green color, just to get different shadows and stuff going. In the next part that we're getting to, I'm going to fill up my star as I'm talking. So the next part is optional here. You can decorate this tree, or you can leave the tree however you want to do it. I'm going to decorate it just because I don't know why, but it'll be fun to decorate the tree. And I want to show you how I'm going to do it. Once I'm done, I'm going to do a couple layers here for this star, because I can see my pencil marks through it. So I'm going to dry this. I just added a little bit of white into my center here. So using the very back of my brush, I am just going to make some circle shapes for ornaments. Oh, I just smudged my tire. I gotta fix that. I'm just going to continue with this now and then get rid of that smudge I just did. Okay, the next color, I'm going to do some blue. I feel like I have more control over my circles if I use the back of a paintbrush. I'm going to do some red. And then I can also come in with just a little bit of white and add like a little shine to these. Oh, I keep smudging. And feel free to come in and just add a little bit more shadows. I'm just gonna paint over this part that I smudged. Yeah, you can keep adding shadows underneath your tree, or you can leave it how it is. Another thing that we can do is we can add some snowflakes to make this really fun. So I think for right now, I'm gonna worry about down here and just paint this part out and blend it out. Just painted some white dots over over the area I'm not happy with because I smudged it. And I just mixed a little bit of yellow into my green just because I felt like this tree just needs a little bit of a highlight. It's just a little too dull. So I'm just carefully going around my ornaments that I put down and just adding a little bit of light to my tree. This is all about your layering. And then you can come in again over top and just add more dimension to it. Just keep layering until you're happy with how the dimension of your tree looks. And now I feel a lot better about it. I gotta make sure my brush is really clean. And then I'm gonna come in with a little bit of a blue and white here. Just blend out a little bit more blue to blend out this background mistake that I made. And then another thing that we can do, which is totally optional, is we can add some like snowflakes or just something to really just make this pop. We can add maybe like a moon or something. But we can just definitely just make this our own. I don't like that. I'm gonna blend it out. You can add some snowflakes, some dots using the back of your brush. You can come in and do something fun like that. All right, so I feel pretty confident about this painting. The only thing is I want to just add a little bit more oomph to it, I guess. So this part is totally optional. If you're happy with how yours turned out, you don't have to do this part, but I just feel like I want the sky to just be, I think, a little bit darker. I just feel like the painting, I guess the word I'm looking for is a little flat. So I'm going to come in with a little bit of navy. And then from there, I'm going to mix in some white so that we can start to just blend out my edges a little bit. Just until we feel like we've got a nice gradient of color. Just gonna make it a little bit darker over here. Okay, I'm gonna mix back up the color that I had before. So I'm mixing a nice light blue again to start kind of mixing in that blue. can already tell I'm starting to just like this so much more. I kept looking at it as I was painting. I'm like, oh, it just feels a little off. And then when I had to think about it, I was like, I know what I want to do. I just want to add a little bit more love to my background. And then, you know what we could do? We could add some snow, some snowflakes. I do want to add just a little bit more detail, just like underneath here, so that it stands out a little bit more. Under here, I just want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to use that navy color that I had before for the sky. Ta-da! Okay, and then I do want to add just a little bit of a shine right here on my light. Maybe go around it with a little bit of glow here. Make it look as though it's glowing with some white. Okay, yeah, I feel a lot better about this than I did before. So you can come in, you can use the back of your brush, do some dots for some snow. I'm okay with not doing snow. I kind of want the truck and the tree to be my main focus. If you have enjoyed this painting, please check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and I will paint with you guys soon. Happy painting!